Welcome back to our channel.
What's up?
Yeah, you guys don't really see him that often anymore. For those of you that don't know, he works a full-time job, so I'm trying to like do this and then like just kind of try to get him in there as much as possible, because I know a lot of you guys are here for his entertainment because he's a funny guy sometimes. Okay, so what we're doing today is the much requested birth story, which is kind of odd because she was born like over a year ago, so I don't really know why people want to hear this, but I think it's because, at least what I think is that like before I gave birth, I was always like, what is birth really like? Like, you never really know until you know.
Plus, maybe a lot of people wanted to know about it, but they just didn't have, we didn't have the platform for people to ask it on. So
that's true.
That we're YouTubing, they're like, oh, let's hear it.
That's true. So, you might hear Harley noises in the back. But,
we will hear Harley noises in the back.
Yeah, but, okay, we got our list of topics we want to talk about because it was an eventful
hot topics.
9 months. I do want to start out with saying, this is a disclaimer, that not all pregnancies and labor and deliveries are the same. I thankfully had a pretty easy pregnancy and labor and delivery, but that's not going to be the case for everybody, unfortunately. So I don't want you going into it thinking that like, oh, it's going to be a piece of cake, nothing's going to go wrong, it's going to be like the best thing ever, because that may not be the case. Big moment of when we got pregnant.
Good one, huh, Harley? Yeah. Oh, yeah, so anyways.
We went to breakfast with our friend, Connor. And
oh, that's right.
After breakfast, I was like, I think I want to go to Lucky's and get a pregnancy test. So we go over there, and they literally make it so hard. Like if you go to Rite Aid or anywhere else, they're just sitting on the shelf. You just grab one. They were locked in like a case, and you had to ask somebody to get it for you. Anyways, we go to, or I go to my hair appointment. They hang out, and that night I go home and I test. And it was positive. And I was like, I do want to tell Matt, but I don't, because I've heard that like the first pee of the morning is...
Where were we living at that point? We were living, oh, that's right. We went to Black Bear Diner.
Yeah. So at that point, I was like, I kind of want to wait to test in the morning, because that's when they say is the most like the best time to test, because that's when your levels are the highest.
So your pregnancy test comes with 2 things in it, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
So I did it that night, and I was debating. I was like, should I tell him, should I not tell him? But I was like, I'm too excited. I need to tell him. So he was just laying in bed, I think on his phone or something. And I was like, babe. And he was like, what? And I was like, look. And I showed him. And it wasn't like anything special, because I was just so excited. I'm so bad at surprises that I could not like surprise him.
Yeah, she'll buy me something like as a surprise. And then she's like, babe, I got you something. I mean, we both do it, honestly. Yeah. I do it too. Because like we're so excited about getting
to see the other person's reaction, like to how much they're gonna love it. But so anyway, so I mean, he was excited, but I think he was definitely shocked at first. He was like, what, like what is going on? So that was positive, and then I did test the next morning. It was positive again. So then we called the doctor, made the appointment, blah blah blah.
Doctor, can I make an appointment? I'm pregnant.
So until like probably didn't start showing until I was like 6 months. I mean, I had like a little belly before that, but like really started showing, and like people could tell I was pregnant. It was like 6 months. So that was when I really started feeling pregnant. So honestly, it felt like such a drawn out process, because I was like, you know, normally people start feeling nausea at I think like 4 weeks or whenever they're supposed to start their period. And so that's probably when people start actually feeling pregnant, because they're like, oh crap, like I have to deal with all this. And actually I had to go in every week for a little they were checking my contractions to see if I was having any, because I had this thing called
Cordis?
Venomous.
It's where
cord
it's like
insertion?
a cord insertion. Yeah, I think it was Cordis.
It was venomous.
Something.
I'll write it on the screen. But
yeah.
Pretty much what it was is the umbilical cord was outside of the placenta, or right outside. It wasn't like completely out, but like right outside. So she could have been measuring small and not getting enough nutrition and stuff. Thankfully, everything went smooth, and so it wasn't a big deal. However, they wanted to get my contractions. They went to test for that because once I go into labor, once my water breaks, I need to go to the hospital right away because they have to give me a certain kind of medication.
Plus, I think they were checking on her development while she was in your belly. They were making sure she was of the proper weight.
Yeah, because that could cause her to be underweight.
Yeah.
And actually, I tested for, what is that thing called that I tested for? Which is why I needed the
it's like some the bacteria stuff.
Yeah, there was some like bacteria thing. I'll look it up and leave that on the screen too. But I tested positive for it, which
I guess like 90% of women actually have this or something like that.
So everybody has it. It's just that it can be dormant or it can be active, and you never know if you have it or not. So at that moment, I had it. So they told me when your water breaks, you need to come in right away because you need to get this shot so that she doesn't get it when she's born, and so that I'm okay when I deliver. I was having contractions, but they were really small, and they were about, I think, 5 minutes apart when I was getting them checked, but I didn't feel them, so there was no indication that I was going to go into labor early, besides just feeling like,
are you talking about so we're already in the hospital right now?
No, so this was, remember how I had to get checked every week?
Oh, yeah, and we would sit in the room for 20 minutes while they did the little thing,
Be there, but
I remember I would get off of work, because it was right next to my work, and I would come over when we were there.
So anyways, and I think the last time actually, which was probably the day of or the day before I went into labor, I was, I think, having closer contractions. So they wanted to do like a check, and they did a check and they said I was 3 centimeters dilated, but they were like, you can be 3 centimeters dilated for weeks. Like that doesn't really mean anything. So when you start feeling your contractions, or your water breaks or whatever, then you can come back, but for now we're just gonna send you home. And I was like, really? So night of kind of goes back to, night of is like night of labor, like the start of it. So our anniversary is the day before her birthday. So the day before, we were like, we wanna do something. So our anniversary is the 21st. Her birthday is the 22nd, but she wasn't due until the 30th. So we were
celebrating our anniversary.
And we were gonna go to the movies.
We had, did we go to the movies?
Yeah.
We did go to the movies. Yeah, we went to the movies.
And I actually recorded myself. I'll see if I still have the clip and I'll put it in. But I said, we're bringing our bag just in case anything happens and we have to go to the hospital. So me and Matt are on our way to the movies. And this is our life now. Bringing the hospital stuff just in case. And he was carrying the bag to the car.
Okay.
And that was the night that my water broke. So we went to the movies. I had a giant thing of popcorn. It was amazing.
She ate like all of it.
Yeah, it was so good. And then we got home. Nothing happened at the movies, so everything was fine. We got home and we were getting ready to go to bed, and I was getting like hungry again. So I was like, babe, I really want to, what is it, plum quad?
You always say this.
What is it?
It was just a plum, or what they call a pluot.
Oh, pluot.
Which is an apricot and a plum mixed.
Okay.
But it's not a plum quat.
Okay, sorry. I don't
know what the fuck that is.
So anyways, so at this time, we actually weren't living in San Jose anymore. We had just moved out earlier in the month of August, and we were living in Redwood City. And so we got home that night from the movies, and I was like, I'm really hungry. So he's like, here, just eat a plum or pluot or whatever. So I ate it, and then I was like, all right, I'm ready to go to bed. And towards the end of the pregnancy, one of the symptoms I actually had, going back to just symptoms, is my hips hurt so bad. Like, I could not sleep. I tried pregnancy pillows, everything, nothing worked.
Yeah, because you can only really lay one way, right? When you're pregnant?
They recommend that you can only lay on one side because the cord can get like cut off circulation or something to the baby if you lay on your back.
Some weird scientific, technical stuff.
And I don't know how many people actually follow that. I did, because I'm like one of those people that's scared of everything.
She had like a list of things you cannot eat, always looking at it.
Yeah.
Being super careful.
Yeah. So anyway, so that night my hips were hurting really bad, and we still had like a week. I think she came 8 days early, so we still had a week until she was due. So I really wasn't expecting anything, although I did feel like so just
drained,
fat, pregnant. I was like so ready, but honestly I thought, like a lot of people say that your first pregnancy you're late. So I was like, all right. So back to the night of. I keep getting sidetracked. So I ate the pluot, went to bed. I woke up at midnight.
11.
11. And
it's like 11 something, early.
I was
11.
like, I have to go pee. So that's what I thought woke me up, when really my water broke in bed. So I like got up, and I didn't even notice at first. I like got up and I kind of felt something, but I wasn't really sure what it was. Like, it's not a feeling that you've ever felt before unless you've peed yourself, which like adults, you know, usually don't do. So anyway, so I kind of like got up and I was like, what the hell? So then I stood up to go to the bathroom, and I saw like the sheets were just like, I wet myself. So I was like, babe, and I like freaked out, and he was like, what's going on?
I was dead asleep at this time.
Yeah, he
and
was
like,
passed out.
I looked over and I was like, all right, time to go. I said, tell me what to do. What do I do? I literally was just like half awake, and I'm just like, what do I, like, tell me what to do. I'll do it.
So I was like, get the bag, get everything that, like, we had our bag packed, thankfully, already, but I was like, grab the bag, get some snacks for you, like, you know, a few other things, charger, stuff like that.
It's weird, like, you feel like you're rushing, but also at the same time, you're not rushing. Like, you're kind of...
Because you're so, like...
you know you have time from when... You
do, but then also the doctor told us, like, when your water breaks, you need to come in because we need to give you the medicine. So I was also a little bit like, oh my God, like, we need to hurry because we need to get there. Who knows when the baby's coming? They need to give me the medication, stuff like that. So he was getting everything ready, and I was like, I need to go to the bathroom. I don't feel good. So I went to the bathroom, and I ended up getting sick.
I was just going to say, too. I was like, wait, wasn't there a part where you got sick? But I wasn't sure if you were going to say it.
No, yeah. So he was getting everything ready. I went to the bathroom. I wasn't feeling good, and I got sick, and I didn't really know why. I didn't know if it was maybe from the popcorn or if I was just nervous.
Like an excitement.
I think I was just so nervous because I woke up, I saw it, and I was like, okay, we gotta go. And I think my nerves just like got...
Everything hits you like a bus. You're like, this is like the moment you've been looking forward to or waiting for like the last 9 months. And then also, you just like, reality hits you like...
Also, I lost my mucus plug, so there was blood. And so I think that also was like I don't really have a problem with blood, but when you see it when you're pregnant, it's a whole different situation because you automatically think the worst. You automatically think, oh my God, there's blood.
Plus your body lost a lot of fluids when your water broke. Like, just think about that rush of fluids coming out of your body. Like,
I mean, a lot of water. Like, I don't know if maybe that makes you less dehydrated. I don't really know how that all works, but I definitely know that as soon as I saw the blood, I was like, oh my God. And I think it was just so much fear because when you're, like I said, when you're pregnant and you have blood, you're like, oh my God, something's wrong. Even though, like, I already knew, like, I was already to the end mark. It obviously, I mean, it could always be a miscarriage, but, like, you know, that wasn't a thought in my mind. It was just more of, oh my God, something's wrong.
So yeah, so after she got sick and everything, I had gotten all the stuff ready.
We got a towel, put it in the car because we didn't know, like, if my water broke more. Like, we didn't...
We put it on the seat.
We really weren't sure.
We pretty much bounced out at that point.
We literally, from the time that I woke up and had that, I think it was maybe a half hour later we were out the door.
20 minutes, yeah, it was like 20
Something like that, yeah. I mean, because I still got sick and all that, so I don't know how long that took. But we were out the door, and we were delivering at Stanford Hospital, which is in Palo Alto.
Palo Alto, yeah, it's about 12 minutes away.
Yeah, so super close. On the way there, I feel like we were pretty calm. Like, I was expecting to be like, oh my God, what do I do? Oh my God, oh my God.
But yeah, there's not much you can do in the car. You can't, like, panic or drive fast.
That's true, but it was also like 11:30 at that point, so it was like dark out. There was like nobody out.
12 when we got there, so yeah, maybe like...
Yeah, so it was like super dark out. Nobody was out, so like it was just kind of like very just a calm time.
I think we didn't even have music on. We just had the windows down.
Yeah, I think I was still feeling a little bit nauseous.
Like, roll the windows down.
Yeah, I think I was still feeling a little bit sick just from everything that was about to happen, I guess. Yeah. So then we get there, and I told them, I was like, my water broke. I saw some blood, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, okay, we're going to get you in. Because obviously once your water breaks, they admit you no matter how many centimeters dilated.
Did we roll you up in a wheelchair? I think we did.
Maybe. I don't know. This was before COVID, so there was no, like, restrictions or anything. Thankfully, there was no masks or anything. Like, it was in August of last year, so that wasn't even a thought.
Back when the world was normal.
Yeah. So,
now it's like,
we went up to labor and delivery. They took me in. They put me on all the monitors and everything, and I think they checked my dilation. I was still 3 centimeters, so they were like, all right, well, now it's just a waiting game.
Yeah.
And
could be there for weeks.
Not weeks. So I called, so his mom lived 4 hours away.
Mom.
My dad lived 2 hours away, and my mom lived down the street.
You gotta call parents, like, immediately.
Yeah. So actually, I think that's what we did on the car ride there.
Maybe. You called your mom.
I called my mom because my mom was supposed to work that morning at 5. So I was like, hey, I'm going, like, my water's broke, I'm going in. And she's like, okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into work now, which was at 12, and try to work as much as I can, and when you're close, let me know and I'll leave work and come to you. Because she was supposed to work at 5, so she was just gonna get everything done.
As much as you think like the baby's coming like immediately,
yeah,
it's not. There's so much time.
I mean, and it's different for everybody. Again, like that's not the case for some people.
You're right, yeah. But
then we called his mom because she was 4 hours away, so she had to travel. So we called her. She's like, all right, I'm leaving now. Then we called my dad. He was like, all right, leaving now. So that was that.
I think I texted my dad too.
Yeah, I think he texted him, but he lives right up the street, so it was more of like,
yeah.
And honestly, there was only 2 people that could be in there, and I knew that was my mom and Matt. So, I mean, people would have just been waiting there. The only reason I told my dad is because, like I said, he was 2 hours away.
And you told your friend, did you?
I think I texted my friend group, and I was like, hey, I'm going to labor, but again, they weren't going to come, like, at 12 in the morning because who knows how long it would take.
Yeah.
So, anyways, back to in the hospital.
Room.
So about 2 hours in, they were like, they checked everything again. They're like, you're still 3 centimeters dilated. We're gonna start Pitocin.
Yeah. So once we got to the hospital and we got checked into our room, and they set you all up and everything, strip you down. She's in her little bed gown, and she's sitting in the bed, and like it's weird how things go from rushing to like, oh my god, we got to get there, and like, you know, all this excitement going to the hospital. To like you're in the room and everything's quiet and you're just like sitting there waiting. And they're just
so calm. Like they're like, okay, we're gonna set you up, and I'm like, but isn't the baby coming? Like, do you need to like look? Like what? You know? And they're like, no, it's just, you know. So I was 3 centimeters dilated. They were like, we're gonna start the Pitocin because once your water breaks, they want to get the baby out as fast as possible because there's higher risk of infection. So they started the Pitocin, which speeds up your labor, and then they were like, do you want to get your epidural since like you don't have any pain yet? I still had no pain, which was like amazing. They were like, do you want to get your epidural? And I was like, sure, why not? I mean, I knew that I wanted to get an epidural, but I didn't really know when that happened.
Yeah.
And they told me. I think
what had happened was we were sitting there and she's like, well, like, I don't know if I should get it now or should we wait till later? And the doctor was like, okay, well, here's the thing is we only have one of these epidural stations like on a little tray. And there's only one of them, and there was a few other people in the hospital that were in labor too. And if it was not accessible when we needed it, then she would be screwed. She'd have to go through the whole giving birth without the epidural.
Which a lot of people do.
She recommended just getting it set up. That way they literally set it up. They put the needle in, and then there's just... So anyways, she just accepted the epidural.
Yeah, so I was like, sure, why not? Like, why be in pain if I don't have to? Yeah. So I got the epidural, and the first time they had like a intern, or maybe not an intern, but somebody who wasn't really, someone who wasn't really advanced, so she couldn't get it in for the life of her. So they had to bring in the lead guy. I should know this stuff because I'm obsessed with.
Well, no, the guy was with her. She was just there trying to do it, and then after about 3 fucking pokes, he's like, okay, let me do it, and then he gets in there and pokes her and gets it in the right spot. Yeah. But she's just sitting there the whole time. Her back's all numbed up already. And she's just
it's numb, but it's not numb. Like, I could still feel the needle, and it definitely felt like pressure, like people say. But it definitely didn't feel good. I mean, it wasn't like numb, but it also wasn't like, oh my god, a sharp-ass needle going through my back. So, yeah. So I had the clicker.
On your eye. No, you don't. Yeah, you do.
So I had the clicker and pretty much just administered the medicine whenever I needed it to. So our parents had got there at that point. It was my mom, his mom, and my dad. They were nice enough to let all of them come in the room, which normally they wouldn't. But because it was really late at night, there wasn't a lot of people there, so they were like, yeah, that's totally fine. And again, this was pre-COVID, so it was like, come one, come all. Not really, but you know.
They were chill about it.
Yeah. So pretty much they just let us chill. So we tried taking naps, that didn't work. We tried watching TV, whatever. Then the doctor comes in, not the doctor, but I think one of the nurses, and says, okay, so you're getting a little bit more dilated. I think it was like 5 centimeters. And they were like, the doctor did come in and he was like, my estimate is that you're going to start labor at 4:30 and deliver at 6:30.
Holy
and so that's what he like estimated based on what he saw, my centimeters dilated, stuff like that. So at that time, I think it was maybe like don't know, 12:30 or something like that. In the next day. So
I think it was like 1 or something like that.
So like at 1 p.m. The doctor came in and said that. So I was like, okay, cool, like a few more hours, whatever.
I was just watching the clock go by.
Yeah. So I was at 1, and then at like 2:15, I started having. Oh, and Matt's been getting me ice chips this whole time, and I was having like contractions. Constantly. I was starting to get contractions more and more, and I was feeling them, but not horribly. But I definitely felt them. So at like 2 o'clock. Maybe 2:15, I started having the chills really bad. And I had never heard anybody talk about the chills before when it comes to labor. This is like one of those things that nobody tells you about, but it's so real. So I literally thought something was wrong with me. Like I was shaking. So I started shaking so bad. Like I was literally like, it was so bad. I was like, babe, something's wrong with me. My teeth were chattering. It was so weird. Like I couldn't control it either. So I was like, I think we need to call the nurse back in because I don't know what's wrong. But so don't forget, this was only an this was only an hour after the doctor had said you're probably going to start labor at around 4:30. This was at like 2:15, and I was already feeling it. He had just left, you know, he was just there at 1. So they came in, the nurse came in, she checked, and she's like, you are 10 centimeters dilated. You need to get ready to push.
I think she said 8. Oh no, she did go straight to 10.
Yeah, she went to 10, and I was like, wait, what? Because the doctor had just been in there, like, and he estimated 4:30, so I was like, wait, what? So they were like, everybody needs to get out except the people that you're having in the room, and we're gonna start pushing. And it was literally as easy as that, like, okay, we're putting up the little feet things, and this is what you're gonna do, and that's that.
Oh, actually, so you had a different doctor?
Yeah, I had a different doctor than the one that I had been seeing. So the one that I had for all my like appointments, she wasn't on call that night. So I had a different doctor, and he was one that had checked up on me and stuff. So I knew who he was at that point.
He was a cool guy, yeah. And all the nurses kind of like swore by him too. They were like, yeah,
they were like, he's our favorite.
He's our favorite.
Okay, so yeah, so one of the nurses was pregnant. She was super nice, and they all swore by this doctor. They were like, he's the best. Don't worry. Because I was a little anxious, as I think anybody is, when they find out that the doctor that they've been seeing for 9 months is not available. You're like, you automatically think like, oh my God, like this is the person I've trusted. This is the person that I've put like all my faith into. Now somebody completely new that you've never met before is going to be the one delivering your baby, which is like a big thing. So I was definitely freaking out a little, but them telling me that he was the best and stuff, I was definitely a lot more like, okay, cool. So so yeah, going back to it, it was like 2:30. The doctor came in, they put the little feet things up, I don't even know what they're called, and they were like, all right, you're gonna start pushing. And I was like, well, okay. Like it happened so fast.
Right, meow?
From the second that my teeth were chattering to them like saying, okay, get ready to push. I was like, okay. Like there was literally no prep. Like everything was done already. So they literally were like, okay. So 2 hours later, Harley made it into the world.
At 4:30. At
4:30 p.m. And there was one complication. The cord was around her neck, but the doctor, like, he was amazing. He was like, he told me, and I was so like out of it that I didn't really realize at the time. But he was like,
just he had such a calm voice. Like everything like he said was so super confident. Like super calm and just super confident.
Yeah.
And even when he said it, like I was right there, like watching the whole situation, watching it all. And even when he said it, it didn't even register in my mind. I just knew he knew what he was doing. And he even, once he, you know,
like he told us, he's like, okay, so the cord's wrapped around her neck, but I'm going to go ahead and cut it, you know, blah, blah, blah. And so he cut it, everything was good. And then she came out. He even
saved a piece for me to cut, though. Like,
well, yeah, so they just cut it around her neck, but it wasn't off, like it wasn't.
Which was crazy. I was like, oh my gosh.
So then he got to cut it, and they actually told him, they were like, that's the first time in a long time that we've seen someone cut it with just one cut. Like, I guess most people are like sitting there like, you know.
Scissors must have just been sharpened. Like,
or you're just strong.
Or that. Oh, man.
That's pretty good.
I don't think I
haven't seen that in a long time.
In a while.
Hi, baby. Bro.
Okay.
Harley, girl. Welcome to the world.
So anyway, so that was really nice that they let him cut the cord, because that's always something that all, you know, dads want to do.
Yes.
So, and then she was here, and she was, I think, a little bit purple at first. My mom told me that she was a little purple, but not at the time. She told me after, but she was like, they, you know, really quickly took her, got all the mucus and stuff out of her throat, and she was totally fine.
Early girl. You did it.
Oh, you did
You fucking did it.
Thankfully, she latched on right away to me, and she breastfed totally fine, which I am super thankful for. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope this is kind of what you guys were looking for. It's like I said, it's been a year, so there's some things that are kind of cloudy to me, but
Brought back some memories, some fun memories.
But make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell for notifications, like, comment, all that stuff, and we will see you next time.
Let's sit with time.